September 27th, 2024.
Okay, we're doing an interview today. So these questions were submitted from all the siblings. There's about 15 questions, and we're going to be going from there. First question, getting right into it. What did you learn from raising kids, Mom?
Don't sweat the small stuff. And I'm not saying I didn't all the time, but some things don't have to be as big as maybe I thought they were or made them out to be.
Okay.
And yeah, that's what I have.
Good. What about you, Dad?
I learned to be flexible, or that flexibility was needed. I'm not saying I always was that way, but as time went on, I've learned that. And learned to be patient, and learned to, I guess, realize that every child is different, and so treating one the same way as another doesn't work, and trying to look for the best in all of them whenever possible.
Second question. Favorite thing to do together?
I would say walking or going on hikes, and I enjoy playing pickleball with Dad too.
Yeah, and I had walking because we've had great times, great talks, great time for prayer sometimes. Being on the swing with Mom and under our redwoods, and then going on neat vacations in lots of different areas over the years. We've really had good times just doing that.
Nice. We'll start with Dad here. How has your faith changed through the years?
Yeah, it's been up and down, never lost, but sometimes challenged, and sometimes that's on me, and sometimes it was me just trying to figure out where are you, God, during times of trouble. But I've really just learned, I guess, to trust as best as I can and try to take things a day at a time and not believe that just because something didn't work out today meant that God wasn't working on it for tomorrow.
How about you, Mom?
I would say how my faith has changed. I think over all the years since I've been a Christian in my mid-20s, that it's, at some points gotten really strong, and some points from me, not being in a Bible study or not being regularly in the Word, has gotten a little weaker. But I know God never changes, and I've seen a lot of amazing answers to prayer, and so that strengthens my faith in God.
Nice. Start with Dad again. Family traditions that you've had over the years, and also family traditions that you would like to make sure that you pass along.
Mom will probably be better at this because she's the one who really has helped us with a lot of traditions. But things I've done with you guys, like you and Daniel, just different golf games we play every year, and different competitions that we have, shooting contests and stuff like that. I really enjoy. Tradition I've had, like with Lauren, is writing notes into our secret bottle and hiding it over in a hidden area. And then recently, a tradition I've been doing with Emily is sending her a Dad Gem song every week that hopefully she enjoys, and it's just something that I think has become kind of a cool thing for us.
One of my favorite traditions, we did for several years, probably like 10 times, was do Mount Hermon. So that's a tradition that I've loved, and I would love to continue and see our family continue that with their families as you guys all get married and have children. And another tradition, I love the red plate. I love the red Christmas book that we write in every year and get to see what we did the year before and what was going on. And that we recently started by you heading it up, Michael, would be the games at Christmas time. That's a tradition I think we've now have to keep doing, and I enjoy that one a lot, and think we have a lot of nice connection with each other.
Okay, so this question was submitted today by Dad. How did you two meet? And we'll let you guys just bounce off each other.
Okay, so we met at a church, and Mom was listening to me talking to a guy that I was going to be running a marathon with, and she came up and was listening to us, and afterwards she asked me, the way I remember this is if I like to run, and I jokingly told her that yes I did, and running was harder than it looked. If she ever needed any training in it, I'd be happy to help her out. Do you have anything to add that you remember?
I know it was in August of 1991. It was an AA meeting,
In a
And-
church. In a church.
in a church in Placentia, and he was talking about running, and I just thought, I want to know how to do that better, because I would have liked to have been a runner, but wasn't much.
But she did run a half marathon with me several years ago and did a great job.
2013.
Did
Yes.
you think he was cute? What was your first impression?
I did think he was kind of handsome, but I wasn't thinking, oh, I want to go meet this guy. I was really thinking about running. And then it grew into love.
And what was your first impression,
With-
Dad, when she walked?
Oh yeah, I thought she was definitely cute. And for her to say that she didn't think of her, she quickly did, because we were engaged within 4 months, and she seemed to be just fine
I meant
with that.
during that meeting.
Oh, that one day.
Yes.
It took her a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After a couple of weeks, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I told my friend the next day that I had found the girl that I was going to marry.
What? That's very quick.
I just knew.
How'd you know?
I just had a feeling.
Because
When you know, you know.
Wow, nice.
I have
First,
more questions.
first thoughts when you found out that you were having kids. We'll start with Mom here.
I was elated.
Did you find out alone? Like, did you take the test, or like, did you tell Dad, I've got to take the test, or what's
No, we were both home together, and I took a test, and 15 minutes later, you read it, and
We didn't believe it.
the
so
little line was there. I think we took
kept going to the
4
store to get
texts.
another one to be sure it was true.
Yeah.
Instead of buying like 4 of them, we just kept going.
and they
back
were
to the store.
expensive at the time.
Yeah.
Now they're probably not, but we
Was that high tech back then? Those tests, like, were they new? Has that always been a thing?
yeah, I think they're much higher tech now and much less expensive.
But yeah, they didn't have them like back when our parents were having kids. They had no idea. They couldn't test at home for pregnancy.
No,
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
somewhat new.
so I was elated.
Good.
And for me, I also was excited, but also, became not anxious, but just kind of like, wow, this is going to be real. And we both talked about it before we were even married, about how many kids we might like if we did, and all that. So it wasn't that we were not wanting to, but once it becomes a reality that you know you're going to have one, or believe you're going to have one, it gets a little scary. But yeah, we were very excited about what our family could become.
And I always wanted 4.
She did. I said 2, she said 4, and look who won. We both won.
Thank
It was
you,
a
God.
win-win situation.
Starting with Dad here. Favorite book?
The first one I thought of was Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. I used to just love John Steinbeck when I was in middle school and high school, and every book I could read of his I really liked.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie, won't be surprised, Hoosiers. Close second, Finding Forrester, and then Aquila the Bee. Those are some of my favorites from the past.
Favorite song all time?
I thought about that one. I don't know that I know a perfect one, but I thought of Somebody to Love by Queen. I really like that song.
Okay. Mom, favorite book?
Favorite book, nonfiction would probably be Zig Ziglar. See You at the Top. It was a really impressionable part of my mid-20s and going into sales. Nonfiction, one I just recently read by Kristen Hanna called The Women, and that was amazing. And
Favorite movie?
Meet the Parents for sure, number 1. And up there is The Notebook and Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a good one.
Favorite song?
God, I always thought Journey was my favorite band, but one of my favorite songs, it would have to be, I would say Queen or Boston, but Boston it would be Long Time.
How would you like to be remembered? Start with Dad.
Wow. That's always that's a hard question, but I guess when I'm gone, I hope people remember that I was flawed, but trying to do my best, that I wanted to help others with my resources and with, what things, maybe my experiences that I had. I really do hope that I'm remembered as a good father and a good husband. And I do hope that there are people that I've touched with my faith that will remember that I played a part in maybe them becoming Christ or growing stronger in Christ. But yeah, in recent years, it's really been, I hope to be remembered, by helping other men with mentoring them, and just helping with my experiences, because many of them are younger and they haven't gone through some of the things that I have. So I think that's what I would say.
Okay. How about you, Mom?
I would like to be remembered that I loved Jesus, that I was a great mom because I felt like I dedicated my life to that and it was a big part of my life. and important to me, and I was blessed that I was able to stay at home with Dad's job. And generous.
If you could relive one moment or time period in your life, what would that be?
Who are you talking about?
We'll start with Mom.
Okay. I loved our wedding day. I loved it. It was fun and it was a great time. But I also loved the birth of each of you guys. That was a very special day. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, we're going to be very similar. I thought we talked about reliving our wedding day, and as Mom said, the birth of each of you was such a tender time, and so, filled with what was coming from all of that. Also, just some times that have worked out well with sports wins or something that I was involved with, a contest or something like that. And then I also thought about our honeymoon. We had the first time we'd ever really been away, and we went to Canada and just had a great 10 days or whatever it was there. We just, some great memories that even when we look back now, it was really neat to be on that.
All right, we'll start with Dad here. Hopes for our family in the future.
Yeah, for you guys, each of our children, especially, we just really desire strong faiths, and perhaps, that the ones that are maybe ready to come to that in terms of the significant others, we really just pray for that, to come to faith in the Lord. And just health for you guys, just being able to do the things in life that you want to do, and hopefully find a way to make a living, or be able to provide what you would like for that, and that you guys have some of the same opportunities and make some of the same opportunities that we did, but really just the ones that you guys are trying to do through your passions that each of you are so different in. But just that you guys are healthy, and of course, without being selfish, we desire grandchildren, but no pressure on that.
All right.
Do you want me to answer that one too?
Yes.
What I desire for our family is that everybody would know Christ, they would all live for Jesus, and that you guys would have strong marriages. And I think each generation does better than the last generation, so I pray that you guys have wonderful, strong, God-fearing families.
Good. Impromptu question. Tell me about a memory or time from a family reunion or Christmas get-together throughout the years. Just one memory, and it could be anything random, like getting a meal at Christmas time or anything.
I loved a couple years ago when we all went to High Hand Cafe in Loomis. That was fun with all of us. Yeah.
And this might fall under more than one Christmas, but I think, especially when we were looking at the movies recently, and we saw the beginning of sitting on the stairs, that each of you kids did, and then as we got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 dogs to come, and you guys each holding a dog, that's a memory about Christmas that'll just kind of be the start. We sit there, and then everybody run into the living room, especially when you're little kids. Everybody walks a little more slowly now, but that's a kind of a neat memory.
We'll start with Mom here. Memorable pets through the years.
Well, Calvin was always a very memorable pet. He was a good dog, but I have to say probably Ollie is my favorite.
Okay.
I would think first of probably the first dog we had in our family, which was a Labrador Retriever named Smokey, and he was just a great dog. He only lived to be a year old, and I've shared before, but he died on Halloween night when we were trick-or-treating and got hit by a car, and it was so memorable because of the sadness of that night. But he had great memories, and Calvin was Mom and I's first dog together, the first pet that we ever tried to figure out if we could take care of a pet. Maybe we could do well with children as well. So he's a very memorable one, and yeah, I think Ollie's turned out to be. We're not skipping Tyson and Mocha, but Ollie's taken center stage.
They'll all be remembered, just
Yeah.
some better than others.
What about Kayla? Give Kayla a little shout
Yeah,
out.
Kayla.
Kayla, well, she got the excited pee. I was not a fan. And the squeal.
Mom has.
I was very sad when she died. Very sad. I remember getting a massage and going face down, and just tears were streaming. But I wasn't sad for too long, except for Daniel, probably.
Daniel took it tough.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll start with Dad here. Favorite season of the year?
My favorite season is spring. And it's not because we have such harsh winters here, but we have lived places where we do. And I just really love seeing the bare trees just grow the new leaves, the flowers, the smells in the air, and the warmer weather coming. The longer nights, Mom knows that the short nights and short days short days for me are kind of not depressing, but just kind of downers. So spring is my favorite season.
Mine would be fall. I love fall. I was delivering Lauren, my first baby, in the fall, and I love anything fall and pumpkin and leaves falling, and it reminds me that the holidays are coming up, starting with fall.
Speaking of that, favorite holiday / tradition / holiday tradition. I know we talked about traditions as a whole. We'll start with Dad here.
Okay. The only one that we haven't named, because we named a lot of them, I do like each of you guys being able to hang ornaments on the trees from different times of our past. We try to put dates on it, and then that's kind of a neat tradition of places we've been that we get an ornament from. And then, of course, monkey bread. That's become a big tradition for all of us. Not necessarily the most healthy, but certainly delicious.
My favorite holiday is probably Christmas, and the tradition definitely would be the games for me.
Okay.
My favorite.
All right, get ready for an unplanned 30-second rapid question. You only have 30 seconds to answer this full question.
Wow.
Tell us in 30 seconds how you chose each of the names of the kids. We'll start with Mom. You pick two names. So you pick Lauren and Daniel, and then Dad's in charge of Michael and Emily.
Okay, so Lauren was chosen. When I was at Cal State Fullerton, I had a big sister who loved God, and her name was Lauren, and she was one of the sweetest people I met. And so that's how Lauren was named. And Grace was from my grandmother, who I loved. So Lauren Grace. And Daniel, I was talking to Karen Winslow when I was about to deliver him, and she goes, I like the name Daniel. So it was David or Daniel, and Lauren was at the birth, and she said, I choose Daniel. And that's how his name was picked. And Mark for my dad's middle name.
Mark with a C, not a K.
All right.
Oh, and so Michael, well, we have a long line of Michaels in our family, so that was almost a given that we wanted to have you name Michael. And Ryan, Mom liked the name Ryan, so we put that in there. And then Emily was just kind of a traditional name that we both agreed upon. I don't know if there was any significance, but her middle name, Adele, was the same middle name that my mom had, and we really liked it. It was long before Adele the singer came along, so we were influenced by my mother's middle name. We wanted to honor her with that.
And Jessica also has that name, and so does Robbie's little girl, Autumn. Autumn Adele.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're taking it back in the past. Favorite childhood movie and cartoon? So we'll start with Mom here. So as a kid, when you were growing up, what sort of cartoons or your favorite cartoon?
Why I would say this, I don't know, but cartoon would probably be the Flintstones. I loved the Flintstones. Yeah. And then after that, I probably loved the Brady Bunch, but that wasn't a cartoon.
Okay.
And what other part was I missing?
Childhood movie.
Childhood movie. I don't recall. We didn't get out much.
All right, Dad. Favorite cartoon growing up?
It's funny, I was trying to think of cartoons, and certainly I remember the Flintstones, but I can't remember. So I switched it and thought my favorite show was Wild Wild West on Friday nights. And sometimes Disney would have cartoons. I liked those on Friday nights or whatever they played, but I couldn't think of any really great Saturday morning cartoon, which is the only time we ever got to watch them. And then movie, for some reason, Swiss Family Robinson, just the adventure and the way the family was living in trees and riding on ostriches and stuff. But when I was a kid, I just really loved that movie.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything like that.
All right, we'll let you pick one or two here, but kind of as you'll come together for this question. But favorite TV show that you've watched together? So you two, so kind of more recent Netflix sort of thing, or anything through the years.
I thought of, we saw the whole series of This Is Us long after it was actually out, but we just came upon it, and I thought maybe we might like it, and it turned out to be just a really neat story of family and the ups and downs and stuff like that, and a lot of kind of parallels with different things we've gone through together and stuff, so I think we really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Or Bosch was one we thought of
Bosch.
too.
Yep.
That was good.
Bosch was really good. It was
Yes.
a detective show, very well done.
Yeah. we got to watch a lot during COVID. So,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, we'll start with Dad here.
Okay.
If you had to pick one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I honestly, in my mind, I have a question mark on this because I can't think of any meal that I really would love. I first thought of like a cheeseburger and fries or something like that, but I just don't think every night for the rest of my life or every day I would like to eat that. So, Mom and I talked a little bit about this, and I probably would side more with what she's going to say too, which would be like a Mexican meal with a cheese enchiladas, and I like chili relleno with it. But again, I don't know if I could have something every day, but I would have it if I had to.
My healthy self would say salmon because I love salmon. But my other self would choose Mexican food. Enchiladas, tacos, you name it. Baskets of chips. Yes. At La Placida, it has to be a certain good chip.
Right.
Yep, that would be what I'd choose.
Okay. Adding on that, if you were to pack your lunch growing up, or if your mom or dad or whoever packed your lunch, what would be in your ideal lunch on a special day?
I would say not bologna sandwiches because that was too many times in my lunch. We would have bologna and mayonnaise or butter on white bread, and that makes me not enjoy that. What would I like in it? I don't know. A little pudding would be nice. I'm just trying to think, like maybe some fried chicken from the night before. That would be good in there. And maybe in my thermos some chocolate milk.
I think I most often bought school lunches, but I did like bologna sandwiches, and I would probably, nothing else comes to mind besides a bag of chips and ding dongs or crumb cakes, cinnamon crumb cakes, just the top.
Okay.
I don't ever remember ever a vegetable or fruit in my lunch.
What is a skill that you don't have but you wish you had?
I thought of the one that, I don't know how badly I wish I have it, but I guess it would have been very handy to have, which would be a handyman in our homes and stuff like that. I know Mom would certainly appreciate it if I had been more handy about just things around the home and that sort of thing. I just have never been good at it, and it gets very frustrating because I'm not good at it. So I guess if I could snap my fingers and be good at all the different knickknacks around the home for maintenance and stuff, that would be a good skill. But then I also thought of flying. That's not really a skill, but it's a superpower. And I thought that'd be fun to have as well.
For me, I always wanted, since I was really young, to be a singer, and I'm not a good singer. So a singer or slash like a public speaker to encourage and influence people, because I think I do on a one-on-one basis, but I would have liked to have done that in a more bigger realm.
If you had an extra hour in the day, how would you spend it? Start with Mom.
I do have an extra hour, and ideally it would be to be in the Word, but I can't say I've been doing that lately. So I don't know what I do with my extra hour. Probably spend it with Ollie or the dogs, but I do have that hour, and yeah, I'm probably not very productive right now.
How about you?
Yeah, certainly convicting wise, it would be to be reading, more in the Bible. Sleep was one of the things I thought of just now that, be nice to have, because I don't only get about 5 hours a night, and if I could guarantee that extra hour would give me sleep, I would probably like to have that. And then just spending that extra hour with Mom, just staring into her wonderful eyes.
Okay, so you both started playing pickleball now. Talk to us. We'll start with Dad. How were you kind of introduced to pickleball, and what are your thoughts? What do you enjoy about pickleball? Talk to us.
Okay, so Michael, you would know that because you came home and talked about pickleball because you used to work for the CSD at Eldorado Hills, and you used to come home and say, "There's this game you were setting up the people playing," and you asked me if it'd be something I might be interested in, because sometimes you get to play at the end of it when they needed an extra person or you'd be done signing people in. So I said something like, "Isn't that game for older people?" And I recall you saying, "So what's the problem?" But I did come down one day with you towards the end of your shift, and we played a little bit together, and I watched some of the other people playing, and I did pretty much early on think this could be a fun game for me, kind of going into this stage of my life. So that's why I started it, and I've reached a plateau that probably not going to get any better, but I still do enjoy playing it.
And I was introduced through you guys.
What do you enjoy about it?
It's fun, and when I go with my girlfriends or even the family, that's another tradition that's amazing. That during the holidays we do go play pickleball as a family. It's just fun. You can laugh and giggle. Yeah, I love it, and I'm not that great,
You're getting good.
but I enjoy doing it. Yeah.
Mom serves getting there. Let's see. Talk to us about some sports you played growing up. Just throughout. So that might be cheer. You can talk about the cheer, or just talk to us. Tell us what we don't know about you to start, and then we'll talk about Dad's sport career.
So my worst class was PE. I hated it. Did not like it. I'm not very athletic, so the fact that I can even play pickleball is really great because I was never athletic. But I did do cheerleading. That was okay. And tried out for the high school team. Didn't make that. So yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, I picked up an old basketball when I was about 3 or 4 years old and started trying to shoot it into the 10-foot hoop. They didn't have the types of baskets that could go lower back then, so you had to start with the tall ones. And I really loved it. I have pictures of me when I was that age. So that was the first one. And I started running when I was about 13 or 14 because my dad came home and said that the general was asking all of the officers to do their physical fitness test, which they hadn't had to do much of before, and he thought if he was going to run, he was going to get us kids into running. But it really was something I learned pretty early that I was going to be pretty good at, so I just sort of took to it and started running 10Ks and marathons and stuff like that. Other sports, did never really play on a baseball team, and so those, probably basketball and running, were kind of my earlier times, and really enjoyed them, still do today.
Tell us about a time we've had a full family get together with kind of a good larger chunk of our bigger family.
I would say it started probably in Elk Grove in 1998. Everybody came up to Northern California. That's when your dad, Grandpa Mike, was living in Bodega Bay. So everybody came up. That was fun. We have had a couple of family reunions over the years, and a memorial for Mike, Aunt Mary, and Janice, and that felt like a family reunion with everybody getting together. Can you think of any more?
No, I went back to something even before Mom and I knew each other when I was a kid, and we were at my Aunt Mary's house, and Santa came down the stairs, and it was a big surprise to all of us kids. I don't know why I thought of that immediately, but it's not like the giant family gathering you're talking about, but our family was there, and it was kind of a neat thing as a kid.
Who was Santa? Do you know?
As far as I knew, it was Santa.
Yeah. Good.
Talk to us about the Fiddle Creek or any other family reunions growing up. At least,
Yeah, Fiddle Creek. It wasn't so much as a reunion, but it was the one time each year that my dad's side of the family would get together more, because oftentimes when he would be away in the Marine Corps, my mom would gravitate towards her family, and she had 12 siblings, and so we were oftentimes with them. But Fiddle Creek was a place where our cousins from my father's side, Mike Wadsworth, would come together, and we would camp, we would fish, we would go rafting on the river. We would walk into the town and play, at the time, early games of like Pong, which was like the first ever video game, and it was just fun. We drank as many sodas as we wanted. There was no limit on that. It was just great having the Russian River, right? It wasn't the Russian River. It was what river? I'll have to remember. But it was just neat, camping out right beside it, and that was a neat tradition where I really got to know some of my cousins on my dad's side very well. How about
And
you?
I'm hoping for our immediate family that we can continue Mount Herman, with not only you kids, but your spouses, your kids, and pass that on.
And I don't want to, going back to that question, but you said a memory I wish I could relive, and one of the things I thought of was, if I had known it was my last conversation with my mom, I wish I could relive that again, because I don't know that
You should say
I
that.
don't have a great memory of when that was or what it was. I know when it was, but So I don't know. That may just sound a little lame, but it would be something that if I could relive and do that, especially knowing what I know now, I would like that.